Welcome back to another comparison video, everyone. Today, I'm going to be comparing the Nitecore P23i with the Nextorch TA30C Max. These are both new flashlights from both of these companies. I think they're both strong performers, but I want to go through the differences between each to help you decide what's best for you, especially if you're on the market for a tactical flashlight. I think both of these are great choices, but there are some things that you need to know before you make a decision. So firstly, let's talk about what's included. Now, with the Nitecore P23i, you do get a battery, but it's a proprietary battery, so you have to actually use that one in this flashlight. With the Nextorch, you do get a 21700 cell. It's a button top 21700 cell, but you can charge that independently. You can also use external 21700 cells if they're long enough. So that's one of the things that's included. You also get these nice little side pocket clips as well. You get a lanyard, the charging cable. You do get a holster with the P23i, but you don't get one with the TA30C. Both also come with instruction manuals. And that's pretty much it. Pretty basic, but it has everything that you need in the box. So here we have the P23i up close and personal. And one thing you'll notice if you look very closely, the head is more of a matte black finish, whereas the rest of the body is a little bit more shiny, but excellent quality anodization, nice and smooth. There's some knurling there that helps you to grip it because this is more on the glossy side of the anodizing. Some nice little cutouts, but you don't really get really aggressive cutouts. Some of the flashlights you see have really strong cutouts to increase surface area. With this P23i, you don't really get too many of those, but you get some interesting little designs here on the side. There's a tail switch there. You can see it just a bit closer. Mode and the full tactical switch there. Tail stands as well. You've got a hole there to put a lanyard. You've also got on the front here some bits and pieces with the tactical bezel. So let's have a close look at the Nextorch TA30 Max. Also fantastic anodization. I think it's some of the best anodizing that I've seen on a flashlight. Unfortunately, I actually dropped another flashlight on top of it the other day, so you can see some little scuff marks here and there. But look, I don't baby my flashlights. At the end of the day, they need to be able to stand up to some wear and tear, a little bit of rough usage as well. I mean, don't just chuck them on the ground, but at the end of the day, this one is rated for 2 meters drop resistance. But I mean, I really like how the cutouts are so sleek and kind of creates this anti-roll feature. You do get a bit of that with the Nitecore P23is. You see here, there's 3 of these little flatter sections, and they kind of help stop the flashlight rolling, but it's also this clip that helps to stop it. Same thing here, but yeah, this does create extra friction, and the clip does stop as well. The clip on the TA30C Max is much more sturdy. It feels like it's made out of some kind of high tensile steel, whereas here on the P23i, you get this clip that attaches to the sides, a little bit more wiggly, can move it around. So it's easier to clip onto your pocket, but this one does feel sturdier. But again, it's more of a preference type thing. It blends in nicely. Both of them have that same either this one's kind of glossy or this one's not glossy, depending on the actual finish. So it fits in nicely with the design of the flashlight. The machining is absolutely perfect on the Nextorch TA30C Max. I love how they get all the little things right in their lights, and I like the attention. I really love the attention to detail that they put into all their components. Even look at that tail switch there. It's made out of metal, aluminium as well. With both of these lights, you're not able to disassemble them. They both come with warranties, so they don't really want you getting in there and fiddling around with the electronics that could potentially break them, cause an issue with the warranty. Now, in terms of the batteries and charging, I did talk a little bit about that. Won't go to that in too much detail, but I would mention that the Nextorch cell in here comes with its own charging port, so you can charge it separately. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, although the Nextorch TA30C Max takes non-proprietary cells, you're going to need to get a button top version of that cell to add extra length, because I've used some unprotected flat top cells and they're just a little bit too short to make contact. I said before, P23i uses its own proprietary 21700 cells, so you have to buy those directly from Nitecore, And for some of you, that might be a deal breaker. Some of you, that's fine. In terms of overall size, the TA30C is noticeably larger than the P23i. Bit of a difference between the size of the bezels as well. This one's 30 millimeters and this one's 35 millimeters in diameter. May not seem like much on paper, but as you can see in the pocket, does make a difference. This one has more of a presence, but it's still pocketable at the end of the day. Both have AR, anti-reflective glass lenses on the front, which is pretty standard in the industry. You've got these tactical bezels as well. And the difference here, I mean, you've got these three, let's have a look. You've got these three sort of glass breaking beads here on both of them. But with the Nextorch TA30C Max, this is actually made of titanium. So it's this gray sort of metal, non-reflective, very, very durable as well, much more durable than aluminium. Whereas with the Nitecore, it's the same material, it's just built in to the bezel. Nitecore P23i has a smooth reflector. It's shallow, but it is smooth. Whereas if you look at the TA30C Max, it's got an orange peel reflector in there. So you're definitely going to get a little more throw. But certainly what I found was that both of these lights had very similar throw, because at the end of the day, this reflector is a little bigger and the LED on that one also is a de-domed LED. So we've got similar sized emitters inside both these flashlights. The TA30C on the left uses an XHP 50.3. It's a de-domed LED, the high version. And on the right side, we've got the SFT70. If you're looking at the dye surface, they actually look very, very similar. The XHP 50.3 does look a tiny bit bigger, but really quite similar, and similar sort of style of this de-domed LED as well. I'm sure that if we swap them, they'd perform fairly similarly. So I'll do a quick demo of the UIs, and I'll start firstly with the TA30C. Very simple to use. You've got this back button here. It's a two-step button. So the first part of the button, you sort of just tap it and you access turbo, and you press it fully to access strobe. Very simple to use. There's also a mode selection ring on the back here that you can use to switch between modes. So if you want, for example, that's in tactical mode, so it's kind of on standby. You can put it on low mode, medium, high, and into strobe. Okay, so it's pretty easy. I mean, you can hold the light like this, switch the light on by just flicking that switch and get going straight back again. You also have this button on the back that tells you the battery capacity, and basically just switch the light on for a bit, switch it off, and then it will blink it out. So basically it goes from blue, blinky blue, red, and then blinky red to indicate the battery levels that are remaining. Also, if you take the cap off and put in a new battery and screw it back on, it will measure the battery of that capacity of the battery as well straight away and blink out the voltage. So I think that's really cool that you have that ability in tactical flashlights. But that's pretty much it for the UI. Very simple. Now going to the P23i, this is where things get a little bit more complex. Of course, you've still got that battery indicator here. So if you actually just tap onto a button, you can see it. If you look at the back of the flashlight, there's actually two switches here. This switch allows you to access momentary mode, access full lumens if you're in tactical mode. Press it all the way down, that's full lumens. If you press the mode button from off, you get strobe. So one step strobe, and then you've got the momentary mode. Now, if you want to change modes, go into lower modes, you activate the switch, and then you can actually change the brightness of the flashlight by pressing the mode, that little mode button there. Okay. Now, an interesting thing to know with the P23i is that you can actually switch between a daily mode and tactical mode. And you see there's the little mode button. What you do is that you press and hold it down. That will access strobe. Okay. Turn it off. The light will flash once. Let go of the mode. Screw it back in. And that's when you have access to this other mode, which is basically the daily mode. So here it's kind of got 4 different brightness settings. So very low, low, medium, high. And then if you want to access turbo, you just press and hold that mode button at any other stage. So if I'm here, I want to access turbo, press and hold, and you can access turbo. Okay, while the flashlight is on, you can access turbo. Okay, but the good thing is that it remembers whatever mode you're in last. So if you want this lowest mode to stay on, like that, it will just pretty much remember that mode, and there's no risk of it changing modes as well, because the only way to change modes is by clicking on that button. Okay, so there's no sort of half presses that will do anything. So you can still access kind of like that tactical mode here, that momentary mode, okay, by half pressing that button, but it doesn't go straight into turbo. So a little bit more easy to use on a day-to-day basis. Again, you got that one-step strobe when the flashlight is off. And to switch it back into tactical mode where you get full 3000 lumens all the time when you press that button, you just have to repeat the same process. Press onto the mode button, unscrew the flashlight, it flashes, let go of the mode button, screw back in, and there we go, back to the tactical mode again. So total output of both of these flashlights, they're both rated at 3000 lumens. And I think really that's the maximum you want to squeeze out of a flashlight, some of these flashlights, because they're quite small. I mean, this one's a lot larger, but at the end of the day, with a smaller bodied flashlight like this, they don't dissipate heat so well. So if you're running these flashlights to produce 4000 plus lumens each, it's definitely possible, but what's going to happen is that you're going to have reduced runtime, you're going to have extra heat, there's going to be issues having sustained brightness as well. So I think 3000 lumens is really a good place to start off in. So I think it's actually better that the lights have 3000 lumens rather than, overheat. Beam profiles of these lights are quite similar, but I do find the P23i has a more distinct hotspot in the center. Okay, they throw very similar distances, but at the end of the day, the P23i does beat the TA30C slightly, and the center hotspot just looks more, definitely separated from the spill, whereas in the TA30C Max, it's kind of more of a nicer kind of a gradient between the center of the beam, the bright center area of the beam, and the flood. So I think it's maybe more visually pleasing to look at this one, but this one does throw further, and yeah, has just a large round spot in the center of the beam. So I think that's good, considering that this light is designed for long range throw. Get over 2 hours runtime from either of these flashlights on high, and practicality wise, you're not going to have any problems carrying these around in your pocket. The P23i is probably going to be easier in your pocket than this one here, the TA30C. But again, if you can deal with the larger head, that's not a problem. I like to I don't mind putting it in my pocket, but if you've got some tighter jeans on, stuff like that, that might feel a little bit more uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it's really up to you. So there's a bit of a price difference between these lights as well. The Nitecore P23i retails at $99, whereas the TA30C Max retails at $119. So about a $20 difference, okay? But I do find overall the TA30C Max just has some better runtimes as well in terms of sustained light output. So which one should you get? At the end of the day, it really depends on the features and the styling that you like. For this one here, the TA30 Max, what I like is that everything just comes, the whole tube is joined together. There's no area where you can unscrew the head here. It looks like everything is kind of accessed from this area of the flashlight, sort of screwed in, and then you can unscrew the tail cap. This definitely feels more sturdy. It's also a little heavier than the P23i. So there's just an element of ruggedness that I find the Nextorch flashlights have that separate them out from the competition. UI is very, very simple to use as well. So there's no fiddling around different modes. There's really only 4 modes on here, including strobe. If you want something that has more modes, more customization ability, so you can switch between that daily mode and that tactical mode, the P23i is really a fantastic option. You get a little bit of extra throw on the P23i as well. It's also smaller, so you can fit it into your pocket much more easily than the TA30C, but it does take a proprietary battery. So if you're okay with that, go ahead. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will get back to you. If this video has helped you out, or if you've just liked my videos, do me a favor and click the like button. It helps me to get my videos out to more people. If you want to see me make more reviews, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Nitecore P23i on the left, and on the right, Nextorch TA30C Max. I'll go with the Nitecore P23i first. Very large hotspot and a lot of spill. Okay, And let's have a look at the TA30C on the right. Quite a similar beam, but because of the orange peel reflector in the TA30C, you get a little less throw, but the hotspot blends a little more into the floody area, into the flood beam. Let's have a look. Let's check out the difference there. It's the P23i, TA30C. So it really depends. If you need that extra throw, I'd say go for the P23i. It does ramp down faster than the TA30C though. The body is just smaller, can't dissipate as much heat. Both have tactical mode. As you can see, it's just a lot more smoother. The hotspot just blends into the flood. But I'd say the flood of both is quite similar. Okay, but the P23i does have a slightly larger spill beam for whatever reason, and that's unusual considering that the bezel is significantly smaller than the TA30C.